It's Mental Health Awareness Week, and the topic this year is kindness. I think very relevant to the times right now. And I'm delighted to have a panel of these amazing women who often use their platform to speak up about social issues such as mental health. They need no introduction, but we have Hajra Khan, Mahira Khan, and Sanam Saeed. So thank you guys for joining us today. Before we start, to all our viewers, I just wanted to say that we will be trying to take questions and answers. So if you have any questions related to mental health and the topic for today, then just use the question and answer box at the bottom, and we will take questions towards the end. So now over to our speakers. Everything kind of changed a few months ago. This pandemic and lockdown has taken its toll on everyone in different ways. So how have you been coping with this, and what have been some highs and lows for you? So we'll start with Sanam. Sanam, about your experience and some of the highs and lows.
To be honest, I have not yet. Maybe another month or so, and then I'll start maybe feeling a little anxious about not working. But as I was just telling you a few seconds before everyone came online, I've never been busier because I've never been so involved with the housework. I live with two grandmothers. They're both in their 80s. So we've had to be really careful with who's coming in, what's going out, and because, the elder people are more susceptible to it. So we've been very, very careful and very thorough, which means not letting them do anything when the groceries are coming, the bags, disinfecting that, beating my dadi to the kitchen so she's not cooking or setting the table or doing the laundry. So there's obviously a ton of housework. We're a house of 6 people. So I've just been actually super busy like I've never been busy before. So I haven't had time too much to feel the boredom or to feel the anxiety of not going to work or I've had a lot on my plate.
But that's also, I guess, having vulnerable people in the house and being worried about them is also something that
stressful.
Yeah, that is quite stressful and having to make up. So, okay, thank you for sharing that. Mahira, over to you. Why don't you tell us about your experience during this lockdown? Have you been working? How has it been for you?
Well, I wish I could say I've never been busier because I really have done nothing. I mean, I've been spending time with Amma and Abba, and they're old and they're also not too well. So yes, we've also have had to just be careful, me and my brother and Aslan. But for me, it was a little bit of a shocker, this lockdown, because I just want to work all the time. I'm a workaholic. That's all I do. That's what I understand as this is my life. I go to work and suddenly there's no work. So I've been, I think the first week was okay. The 2 weeks after that were anxiety ridden, terrible. And then you get used to it. And then you start telling yourself that you've got to adjust, and you do several things to adjust. But yeah, it hasn't, I don't know. I'm feeling much better right now. Like now I'm thinking of different ways that I can be part of things that I can do at home. But initially, I think it was very difficult because I'm always on the go, always working 24 hours. I don't remember the last time I had this long of a break.
No, definitely. I think it just shows the different ups and downs that we've all been feeling. There have been highs and there have been lows because it's just such a big adjustment and such a big change for all of us. Hajra, to you, how have you been feeling during this time, and what has helped you? Maybe sharing some coping strategies when you've spoken up about your anxiety a lot. So how's the experience been for you?
It's been, I would say it's been bittersweet, but more bitter rather than the sweet part, because I already suffer from clinical depression and high functioning anxiety, and I'm also, I would say, I don't know, an introvert. So this is possibly the worst time for us, people like us, or people with conditions like us. And it's been tough because football used to be my sanctuary, right? Like something goes wrong, I go play football, and it just suddenly stops. And I don't know, like Mahira said, like she's a workaholic, but we don't realize that we all need a break, and we're sort of running away from just sitting down because it gives us anxiety. Yeah, there was nothing to like exit to, right? But started working out. Took a long time to convince myself to do that. And then I started riding bicycles and stuff. But I was sort of channeling all of my negative and all of the downers into like things I liked doing, and I never really got time to do that. Like I just like when you called me, I was at the nursery getting some more plants because I like to garden, right? So
Yeah,
it's just yeah, it's just random things that you can sort of. I mean, I'm fasting. It's 3 in the afternoon. I got a really bad tan, but I went down and got myself some plants so like I can get busy in the evening and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I started introducing some nice books to my siblings, and the downers were really bad. I mean, I would still say like post midnight, if I have to stay up, it's just going to kill me because the entire day you're just sitting and you don't have a lot of activity, a lot of exercise, and then post midnight you're just like, okay, this is me doing the same thing all over again. And so it just sort of takes a toll on you, but it's been okay. I mean, just yesterday my therapist, she messages me, she's like, I haven't heard from you in a while, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I think I'm finally getting a hang of this quarantine. And she's like, okay, great to hear. I was like, I'll book one after Eid if something goes wrong. And she's like, okay, great. So it's just I did not leave therapy pre-quarantine or like after it. I kept kept active at it. But yeah, it's just it's getting better. I would say it's getting better for all of us. I mean, we're getting used to the new, so I guess.
No, definitely. No, thanks for sharing. And there are things that we can do to try and make this time easier, but it's important to recognize that it is a pandemic. It's something that's different, and we don't have all the right answers right now, and we're learning as we kind of go ahead. Sanam, I had a question for you. You've been a mental health ambassador for the British Asian Trust for 2 years now. Can you tell us about, why you feel passionately about this cause? You have a lot of young followers. You've spoken up in the past about, the importance of including mental health support for our youth, teachers, parents, everybody to be a bit more aware about mental health. So can you speak a bit about this?
I've got a lot of depression, clinical depression in the family, my mother's side. So my mom, who was my grandparents, my mother, they all suffered from clinical depression. And as a child, I wouldn't understand it because when I'd see my mother kind of in her lows, I'd be like, but Ma, you've got a wonderful husband and your kids are all here and you've got work and you've got friends and there's nothing wrong in your life. Why are you sad sometimes? Or, have we done something? And I couldn't understand it. And we'd try and tell her all the time that, count your blessings, look around you. But then after years and as we grew older, we realized we understood that it was a chemical imbalance and that you need medication to help you balance your hormones and your chemicals. So that it's not something that you have to look for being grateful in your life. It's something that you have to internally balance out with medicine. And then in school, and then anxiety was a different thing. So that was depression. And then I didn't know what anxiety was because I didn't face it, but I was seeing colleagues, friends, I had very close friends that would get very anxious. And again, I'd be like, but everything's fine. What's wrong? So it took me a long time to understand what anxiety was, what high functioning anxiety was, what in different types of depression, because I wasn't experiencing them. But when I saw so many people around me experiencing them, I had to kind of educate myself about it. As a teacher for preschool, or seeing my mother as a teacher, and then especially with us on social media, seeing comments and then having young people reach out to us is when I was happy to be a part of the British Asian Trust in order to spread awareness and I think it starts really importantly in your home and school. So if parents are not educated enough or aware enough to instill those values or teach their kids at home, then teachers need to. And a school is that kind of an institution that needs to have qualified teachers, have people who are constantly updating their systems, updating their ways of teaching and getting with the program and kind of figuring out ways to not absentmindedly ignore or overlook a child that is struggling, not to pinpoint a child suffering from ADHD or ADD as a naughty child, and to really be able to pick out on a child that is not behaving quite like the other children or that is a little introverted, a little reclusive, showing signs, and they all show signs. If you're a mother or a parent or a teacher or someone who's working with young kids constantly, you will see the signs. You just have to be aware of them. And so we as social figures, I think, have that responsibility, because we see it in the comments, right? We see people writing to us in comments, people email us saying, help me. I don't have, whether it's financial issues or whether it's parental issues or whether it's societal issues, shadi, yev, or whatever the issue is, they reach out to us. And I never have an answer. But after contacting you and then weaving in touch, you were able to give me a list of pro bono therapists, people connecting people through the British Asian Trust, depending on which strata of society you're from, where you are. I was able to then finally give them answers. And for me, that was most important, कि मेरे पास लोग मदद मांगने आ रहे हो, मेरे पास कोई जवाब नहीं है. But now I can guide them. And that feels like I've been able to do something, and I'm on the right track. And I know which way I have to head now.
Thank you. That's really important, I think. And, I think mental health can't just be looked at as the job of psychiatrists and psychologists, as you said. It's something that needs to be integrated into our society, into our family life, into our education system. We need to teach our kids from a young age how to be sensitive to mental health issues. And as you rightfully pointed out, it's not only our own mental health, but how do you support a colleague or a friend or a parent who might be suffering from mental health issues too. So Hajra, over to you. You've been someone who's been brave enough, and I think one of the first kind of celebrity figures in Pakistan who's spoken up about her own mental health issues. You've used your platform always to speak up about, the taboo subjects such as mental health. So can you talk about this experience and let us know what it's done for your own mental health? And also if you have any messages for people out there who might be suffering, but too ashamed or shy to kind of speak up about it.
So I got diagnosed in 2018 January, and I had been carrying really bad anxiety since 2016 January. And when I got clinically diagnosed, I figured out that I had it ever since I was a young teenager, because ever since I was 11, I was competing. Like at the age of 11, I'm running a half marathon by myself. It's not normal for a normal child. So I was so in my zone ever since that age that, when I started therapy, I sort of realized that, well, this has been going on for a while, and I've just been strong enough to like sort of go through it. And that's what my doctor said. She's like, I don't know how you survived this far, like this long. And I was like, okay, maybe sports. But yeah, I've done TED Talks. I've spoken at multiple platforms about my mental health. I really don't mind talking about it, because I accepted it, and speaking out loud about it sort of also gives you a chance to acknowledge all that you're going through and all that you might be feeling and all that others might be feeling. And why I speak about it is because out there might be somebody who might be able to relate, right? And ever since I started speaking about it, I can remember, like, on my fingers, like six different parents. They come to me and they're like, "Mera bacha medical school student hai," and they're like from all different backgrounds, and they don't know where to go, who to talk to. And they would tell me, and they'd be like, my child's probably as old as you are. Do you mind talking to them? Because they won't listen to us. And so I did that for them, and I don't know them, and I don't know who they are. I don't know where they're from. And, just being out there, being able to express yourself and speak motivates others to get help. Because, when I sort of got diagnosed, I realized that there was absolutely no athletes talking about it across the world. Michael Phelps from the US, that's it. And he also came out about it just as something that he was going through, not what he wanted to do about it, or nothing, it was very limited information that he just threw out in the press, basically, about his diagnosis. But my coping strategies have just been, therapy is so important. People don't realize it. I started therapy without medication, and then, my doctor was like, "It's getting rough. I can see it. It's getting tough for you as well. Do you want to start on your medication?" And I was like, "Okay, fine. Let's give it a shot." I've been on medication for 2 years, and I'm not addicted to them. They're SSRIs. A bit more technical stuff that I'm speaking about right now, but it has really helped me get better in therapy. And me getting help, me talking about it, has sort of broken the ice with my mom, because she never acknowledged her depression. And what's happened with this, me coming out and me talking about these things, is that she got help. She goes to a psychiatrist, and she's been getting therapy and all of that stuff. And because I have this information that I'm circulating across the world, and or whatever medium I'm using, I have started speaking about it at home as well. I have never been like I don't know, it might sound like weird, but I haven't really been very, very, very close to my family, because I was always playing, always traveling, living by myself. And now I feel like, especially with this quarantine situation and the lockdown, and like we're all together, I'm opening up about a lot of things related to mental health. And we have sort of figured that one of my other sisters, who's just turned 15, had an anxiety attack a couple of weeks ago. And I knew how to handle it, and everybody else was losing their shit, basically. Excuse my French. But it's just, it's the more you make people aware, the better things get. And, it's just, I don't know, I can't explain what all it has helped me with. There's people talking to me about it. There's just so many questions in my DMs. There's like emails. There's even on LinkedIn. I mean, people are like, how do we connect? Or how do you want to, how can we, like, we run a sports development organization. We want to incorporate mental health into it. So it's just, and because sport is like everything. You can touch every aspect of your life through sport. And so I've just been using football as a platform, and talking about mental health or illness has just been my top priority now at like for the rest of my life, for real.
Okay. No, excellent. And it's so, inspiring to see you use your platform and actually be able to help, your followers, as well as you mentioned, your family members. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for always being brave enough, to speak up about it. Mahira, I wanted to ask you a question. There's been a lot of recognition around the challenges of working mothers, especially during this time. You have to take care of yourselves, but mothers working from home, children aren't going to school these days, so there's the worry about their well-being and their education, and extra stress of that. And we recognize, especially with mental health, the challenges and the stress factors for mothers and women nowadays. So could you talk a little bit about how you've coped with this during this time, being a mother, and if there's any messages you wanted to give out to other mothers out there?
Yeah, sure. But before that, I always say this to Hajra. We were on a panel. Well, we've been on a few, but we were together. I can't remember exactly where. Some college, and talking about women.
Yeah. The BBC thing.
BBC thing, yeah. And I look at her and I'm like, damn, she's brave, because I'm not. I'm brave otherwise, but I think I'm like, I don't know when I'll be able to talk about certain things which I'd love to, and I'd like to say, here, this is it, this is what's happening with me, or my life, or my mental health. And every time I think that I should be brave enough to openly talk about certain things, I think about my sanity and how a person in my position will, that be picked up, and I'll be trolled, and I'll be, and that, and that in itself is just so sad. It's so weird, right? Because here you are dealing with something on your own, and you're thinking, maybe I can make a difference. And I've spoken about anxiety, I've spoken about depression, but not in detail. And it's such a dichotomy, because you want to do that, but you're actually thinking, but will that help my situation and my mental health? So it's strange, because at this point in my life, I'm just about trying to protect my own self first.
Which is what you have to do. You have to put your own oxygen mask before you help others. So it's good that you are trying to take care of yourself first. Yeah, that's most important. Yeah.
And Sanam, I will talk about working mothers. But something very strange happened. I was at a grammar school, like, leadership conference. Okay. So after we got done, this girl came up to me and she said, I want to talk to you. I said, yeah, sure. And she said, but alone. And I said, okay. We went outside, and she said, I'm not, something is wrong with me. and I feel like you can help me. So I sat down, we talked. I said, I think you need to go see somebody, okay? And maybe you can give me your mom's number or whatever. She's like, no, my mother's already saying that I should go see somebody. I was like, then do it. Please do it. Come on. A few months later, me and her are sitting at a hospital together. And I'm like, I know this girl. She's a little girl, like maybe an 8th grader or something. And I'm sitting there also sort of like this, and she's sitting there. I'm like, and here this is little girl and me sitting outside a psychiatrist,
Hey.
It's
Yeah.
just like, yeah. And I thought, I don't know, it was so weird because she looked at me and she thought, oh, so I'm not alone.
You're also, yeah.
The person I was looking up to is sitting right here. And I was thinking, oh, look at her. Here's this little girl brave enough to be sitting here. And it's taken me years to come here. So anyway, that's, I just wanted to put you guys out. So yeah, working mothers. I think we've had, if anybody is on a mom's group, and I know that Sanam is not a mother, but trust me, she's more of a mother than all of us. She's great with babies and takes care of, she'd take care of everyone's babies, I think. But so if anyone's on a mom's group, they know that they were going crazy. They were just like, oh my God, like there's no school, there's no work, there was homeschooling initially, and it was tough. It was tough for me as well. I used to, even though I loved it, I've enjoyed this immensely because I don't have this much time with Islam.
Yeah.
But I think for we are very lucky. I think someone said to me yesterday that this lockdown is sort of a luxury for people like us, and that is kind of true. When you look at people all around you, yeah, we can complain. Yes, it's tough for us, and it's tough for everybody, but for some it's way tougher. And I think it's important to acknowledge that. The girls who work here, when Nasreen came back one day, I said, Maza aa raha hai? Are you having fun? Ghar pe chill. And I asked Rani, nahi Baji, mujhe wapas kaam pe aana hai.
They all want to come back to work.
So, because that is like for Hajra, it's an escape, or me, it's an escape, or whatever. It's an escape for literally everybody to get out of their houses where they may not have space, where they might be, one of these girls, I don't want to name them because she says, don't name me because I'm famous on TikTok now. Yes. But one of them has an abusive husband.
Oh.
So it's been difficult for a lot of moms and dads, I'd say. But yes, for working mothers, I think people like us, we still have the luxury to sort of sign up for online classes and stuff like that. But I think it's important to acknowledge those who don't have that luxury.
Definitely. And I think this pandemic has shown it's not just the physical health that's affecting, our mental health. It's the loss of jobs, unemployment, livelihoods are being lost. And for people, that's the hugest thing, financial strains. So there's so much going on, and it's really important to acknowledge all of that. And, as you rightfully said, people want to go back to work. We can look at this, but then also for us to look at the positive side of it, to be grateful for the little things that we have. And I think that's where the ups and downs come from, to take care of ourselves, to take care of those around us, but then also at a community level, what we can do. And I'll go on to my next point there, because I think it, relates. The theme for this week, Mental Health Awareness Week for this year is kindness. And kindness is a really broad term. It can be, perceived in so many ways, but the kindness really of, supporting other people, as we said, who might have mental health issues, might have physical health issues, are more vulnerable than us. And then there's kindness in supporting our staff, our friends, our children, our colleagues. And it's known that kindness and supporting others does have a positive effect on our mental health. But then the lack of kindness tends to have negative effects on our mental health. And, Sanam, I know that celebrities have spoken up a lot about cyberbullying and trolling. And, sometimes for even fans showing that lack of kindness. Mahira, I see, you've taken a break from social media recently. And I just wanted to ask you a bit about that and, whether it was a step that you took, as you said, to protect yourself and to protect your own well-being at this time. So maybe if you could talk a little bit about that.
Well, no, it wasn't. It was just like, let's take a break,
Yeah.
I'm out of throwback pictures now. No, I don't know. It's not that. It's just sometimes we all need that break, it's unreal, that world of social media. It's beautiful when it's real. It's beautiful when someone, where there are these moments and spurts of reality, and like someone is being like, says something which is amazing. But most of the time it's not real. And because of all this time that we have on our hands, what we've realized is that what has happened world over is that there are more people on social media. There are more people using all kinds of apps. And I just thought, if there is all this time, and that too, I spend like maybe, online doing something, I'm better off just deleting some apps for a little bit, and really just enjoy this time. But so it had nothing to do with the trolls or cyberbullying, but I've said this before, and I'll say this again. I should be on some sort of poster for cyberbullying, because I literally have to say one thing, and it's like, it's just like, and I think we've all been through it. Sanam's been through. Sanam was stuck somewhere. Because while this corona was happening, she was not at home. And then when she came back and she wrote something, I can't remember, you'd written something about, just the way the situation was and the hotel was. And then everyone, who are you to say anything? What do you mean, who are you to say anything? I'm a human being. I am a human being first. Then I have all these other things. I'm a mother. I may be a caretaker. I may be someone who takes care of, like she said, my dadi and my nani, and maybe the whole household. I may be a lot of things before being that girl for you who comes on TV. And I think the problem is, again, the lack of just holding off and understanding. And like you said, kindness. But I think kindness, we talk about kindness a lot. And sometimes we just use that word so casually, when actually I think it should be taught. It should be ingrained. And of course, you should ask both of them too. But I have this little story. I don't know if I hope that a lot of mothers have tuned in. But otherwise also, I had read this book by Edie. And when he was little, his mother, and they were poor, his mother used to give him, I think, एक रुपया या एक आना, अब मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा, और वो कहती थी कि ये हैं 2 पैसे, एक तुम अपने पास रखना, one you keep for yourself, and one you give to someone who needs it. That is teaching giving, and I tried doing that with Azlan, like used to give him a sandwich. I thought I was being very clever. Cut it up, one you give to but he's not interested in food, so he'd be like, Ma, I give both to someone. I think, oh. So yeah, so this has to be taught. You're from home, and then from your teachers, and eventually second nature, where you understand where the other person is coming from, and you hold off before saying, doing, writing something which can be mean or effective.
And cyber, Sanam, you mentioned youth, etc. Cyberbullying, bullying It's just something that we see so much of, and we see the effects of it. And as a mental health professional, I see the effects of it much later on in life. People in their 50s and the 60s talking about experiences of bullying they had when they were a child. So I think sometimes you don't realize the effects of these things. If you could maybe tell us a bit about your experience with cyberbullying and trolling, and we'll come to everyone because I think all of you guys have a very strong social media presence, which, as Mahira said, can be positive and beneficial, but then there are the negative parts of that. And you guys are also, as Mahira said, human beings, which I think people don't often realize. So Sanam, yeah.
It took me not too long to realize that the bullies, I hope now after this they don't bash me for saying this, but it's okay. They are suffering themselves. Their comments are a reflection of their shortcomings, of their insecurities. And I just feel like they need to work on them. I mean, I'm not here to help them, but it's just for me not to get hurt by the comments. My understanding was, they're suffering. There's something that they're going through, and this is a reflection of their pain and hurt. Because otherwise it wouldn't matter to them. And everyone has a different comment. Kabhi aap Musalman nahi ho, to kabhi aap bahut elitist ho, to kabhi aap kali ho, to kabhi aap ye ho. I mean, so many complexes that different people have, but you are that one person who gets the brunt of all of it. So first was understanding that these people are hurting themselves, and what pain is it that they're going through, or what insecurities are they going through. Second, it was which comments in particular affect me, and why do they affect me? Because then that particular part is my insecurity. So what am I insecure about? About my color? Not at all. About being a Muslim or a good person? About my modest, not at all. So which is it? Maybe I haven't paid enough attention to them, but it does. When you're doing something nice and your intention was to help someone or to make someone aware or to stand up for a cause, and then they come out from pata nahi kahan and like shove you with a bamboo, it's like, but why? I was trying to help you. I was trying to show a good side. I'm trying to be a part of the change. Why are you? That's some other level of bila wajh ki. Sometimes it feels like bila wajh ki aur koi kaam hi nahi hai, but to
level of blame. Seriously.
So, I don't know what to do. I mean, especially when whenever you speak about anyone misogynistic, or you speak about someone who goes against the values that we believe in, and you speak up for that, against that, the side that doesn't even know ki kya sahi hai, kya galat, bas because again, it's lack of exposure, it's lack of experience, and it's lack of being in the other person's shoes and knowing what it is to be so vulnerable like us. They don't get that. It's not their fault. And hiding behind these, what we call the keypad warriors, keypad warriors, that you would never say something like that to someone's face. Because it's mean. It's not a nice thing to do or say, but because you're so anonymous and because you're so bored and so troubled with whatever it is, it's also a way of, I think, for them to release their frustration. So for me, cyberbullying, I've tried really hard to just ignore it, and tried hard to pinpoint the ones that affect me most and work on myself. And you've really got to develop tough skin to really not be bothered. I mean, I can say I don't get bothered all I want, and maybe there was a time for a brief second where I was like, yeah, it doesn't bother me. But obviously, when you're alone, it kind of does, but it doesn't anymore. It doesn't anymore, and it's really important to have each other's support. If she's getting bashed, and if I stand up with her or support her, that's all one needs, is the support. You can have fans supporting you, but you really need someone in your shoes to really know what you're going through, to be your friend and to support you in these, confusing, frustrating times.
And I second that. I feel that we need to have more support for each other as public personalities.
Yeah.
Our fans, I mean, of course, fans will go on I've always had that where I know my fans are going to just take care of something.
Yeah, exactly.
But you actually need, if she's going through something, I know that I'm going to stand up and I'm going to say, it doesn't matter whether I am friends with her or I'm not. That's actually a very good point. Yeah,
because we need to set as examples, right? Role models, fans and public will always pitch people against each other, even though no one is. वो अपनी competition बना लेते हैं.
Yeah.
And they'll pitch everyone. So in order to set the stage and for people to see that, oh, there's no, they're together in this, so we can bash them all they want, but ye log to saath hi hai. So the stronger our wall or our defense, or the more united we are, the harder it is for them to break us individually. So that's, I think, how.
That's really important. Thanks for sharing that, Sanam. Obviously, some things aren't in our control, but as you said, supporting one another and teaching people kindness. Mahira, you mentioned from a young age, teaching people kindness. And I think if we instill these values and this sense of kindness, and kindness doesn't just have to be acts of kindness. Kindness is the way we are, being non-judgmental, learning how to actively listen to others. These are all forms of kindness. And I think it's very important. And back to, what we said about parents and teachers, teaching these to our kids from a young age will really help in some of the issues that we're recognizing today. Hajra, I wanted to go to you, a bit about, obviously you also have a social media presence, but maybe you can talk a bit about, you've come out and spoken about mental health, and you might have had a mixed reaction from different, whether it's colleagues, whether it's team players, whether it's your fans and followers, and how does that tend to affect you, and any, negative effects on your mental health too?
Like I mentioned when I was talking earlier, that speaking about it has sort of helped my mom get therapy. So when I started talking about it, she was like, "Hey, you're doing pretty good in your career, and why do you have to speak about something that shows you off as a weak person?" And I was like, "Let me do what I'm doing because I know people need to hear this." And if you look at me and I tell people there's more to me than what you see, or like than what you see on social media, or I have a little presence on social media, but even like when I'm talking about it, there's so recently I was doing a live with one of the other organizations I work with, and I mentioned my mental health issues, and there's immense support coming in from like the foreign followers that we have for the organization. But when you come to Pakistanis, I don't know, like you guys spoke about it, like those keyboard warriors they are. And this one guy, he starts talking about trash talking, right? He's like, why do you need to, and it's a private matter, keep it at home, and things like this also comes in bullying. And I was just like, this guy, I read out, so even when I'm live on my own social media for some other stuff, I read out their name and I tell them, I am like, this is a positive space. I've created this space so I can interact with my fans very, very positively. It's a good vibey situation. I'm going to block you out of my page. Thank you for watching. I block them out, and then I've done that like thrice, and then people stop doing it because they know. And there's people who apologize and at the end they're like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I was just like bullshitting." And I'm like, "Okay, what did you get?" So you sort of have to start off with keeping them on track. And I can do it because I have a smaller following than the two of you guys. But it is really difficult. And yeah, the backlash, because it starts at when you're on field. In Pakistan, especially when I had my first breakdown, was after a training camp, like Pakistan basketball training camp back in 2016, and the coaches didn't know what was going on, the players didn't know what was going on, and I had it was really bad. I broke down. I couldn't stop myself. I was like shaking and hysterical, right? Because I didn't know what was going on myself. And because I'm in such a field where when you are weak, you are sort of, they start counting you 12 as the 12th player. In football, we have like 11 players that start playing, and I've always been like first 11th player. And then they start seeing you as a 12th player. So I sort of had to sort of talk about it in a way where I wasn't weak. So I was talking about my mental illness, but I was also making sure my performance is like still the same or consistent, so nobody points fingers at me, because if my performance goes down, or I would stop having foreign tryouts or opportunities to play abroad, because this is the weak player, right? Just like we have, if a player on the field is physically injured, we want to do everything to fix them up so they can help the team out. But if the same player has issues related to mental health or anything at all, something's going on at home, oh, my nanny passed away, Acha, take a week's break. I don't need a break. Just tell me I'm still on the team, and all of these things. So it's how we choose to word things, and people don't realize that, especially here in Pakistan. We need to sensitize a lot of people around mental illness and mental health issues, which is monumentally lacking here, I would say.
And I think that whole idea, and it started from, seeing people with mental health issues as weak, when actually, speaking up about mental health issues is, comes from very strong and brave people. And, this thing about, no, it's okay, you don't need to tell people, they'll see you differently. That's why, there's a lot of recognition now about employee well-being and, spreading awareness about mental health to employers and organizations, because people don't, people can come and say, I'm not feeling well, and the sympathy and the empathy will be there that, I have the flu or I'm suffering from this, take some time off. But it's so much more difficult to talk about mental health. I need a break because my mental health right now is suffering. And it's really, about spreading more awareness, making everyone aware, as I said, not just psychologists and psychiatrists, but everyone has a part to play. Now, we are getting quite a few questions, so I'm just going to go to them. But I just wanted to say first that there are quite a few people asking for suggestions on what to do if you're depressed. So at the bottom of the chat, the British Asian Trust is sharing links to resources that you can access, from our partner organizations. There's a Sehat Kahani app, and there's a link to that. You can download it. It's free of charge. And just, from the safety and comfort of your own home, you can access support from a mental health professional, a psychiatrist, psychologist, counselor. And then there's IRD, another one of our partners, helpline. The number for the helpline is 0213 713 332, and we're sharing the link with you down below too. You can access counseling, and again, it's free of charge. So I really encourage, if you know someone out there, or you yourself are finding this time challenging, feeling anxiety, depression, please do reach out and gain the support that you need. So I'm going to take a few questions. This one, I think, goes out to Sanam and Mahira. Do you think that the issue, and we've talked about media and the importance of it, do you think that the issue of mental health needs to become more prevalent in our dramas and films?
They are, but kitna? There are good dramas that have discussed it, but I don't know, should out of 100 dramas, 50 be focusing on it? There's so many issues to talk about. I think it's more us that need to be more vocal about it, humanize it more. And, like you were saying, Mahira, this is, yes, you have to first be stronger yourself and ready to deal with whatever headline will show up, or deal with whatever comments and backlash and, oh, it's just another publicity stunt, attention. They say horrible things and you're just like, I've just spoken my deepest truth, and ऐसे ही कर दिया that this was a publicity stunt. Really, that's all I had to pull out as a publicity stunt was this. But that's when you have to, I think, put those aside. And our dramas, Mahira, well, Aakhri Station was one, and people did write in a lot saying, it's because Sarma does pick on really interesting topics, and he really shows social issues really well. And they do have an impact on people. People do enjoy watching them. So maybe a quota, yes, from production houses, if they set a quota that would produce productions focused on social issues, like, Udari hit the nail on the head, but that was just one. Aakhri Station did that. These new ones with the multiple personality disorders, one that I saw, Ishq Zay Nasib, was something really interesting, very cool, really dealt with issues that people have no idea. It's like, how are we aware of it? Three Faces of Eve, books, movies. We got exposed to all these issues through cinema, TV, and books. So our awam, who just watches TV and is primarily that main form of exposure is TV. Yeah, I think some of our dramas should focus more on it. But then the question is how many?
I think, the way it's, I feel watching dramas, a lot of times it's always the woman, first of all. And I think now it's changing. So the new ones, but it's always the woman, and it's always, her screaming, locked in a room, frantic. And that's how they portray mental health. And it's never, I've never seen in a lot of now Hollywood movies and in the West, you see them seeking help from a therapist. There's nearly a therapist in every movie or show that I watch. But I think that needs to be more the norm now in Urdu dramas and movies too. Mahira, sorry, you were saying something?
I think that you can't, I mean, TV, film, digital, whatever you call it, it's art, and we can't put a thing on it, that we must make drama. No, we must make whatever we want, whatever stories anybody wants, they should be making. We all have our visions, our directors, producers, and the writers, they all want, they're all writing different kinds of stories. So they should be able to do that. What should be, sorry, hold on. Sorry, I thought I heard Aslan crying, but no. Achha. Anyway, what is important though is that how we show it and how we portray it.
How we word it.
Sorry?
How we word it and portray it, you're right, yes.
That is more important. Whether you show it once or whether there's one drama or one film or whatever about it, let there be, let someone proper or professional come on board and actually guide you through this, Aslan, no, you can't do that. Sorry guys.
So they do, like Kash Foundation came on board with Akhri Station. Kash Foundation came aboard with Udari. So there were professionals who were actually working in tandem with the production houses to let them know of real true case studies, facts, statistics, and what the solution is, and therefore encourage that. So yes, in terms of when the production house works in collaboration with the professionals, the message does come across, as we saw with these two productions. Ishq Zain Naseeb was, I think the actor was Zahid, and he played a guy who had a split personality. And at night or in the evening, this other voice in his head would come out. And that was really interesting drama, because that happens. There's a thing called multiple personality disorder. You have these two sides, or the Jekyll and Hyde in us, the two sides, the voices in our heads, whatever you want to name it, call it, give it a Muzakkar Muannas to it or whatever. These are serious mental health issues that there's so many different types, and one or two stories, depending on how they're portrayed, can make a difference. Go on.
Sorry about that, guys.
I'm just going to add a little bit of teeny tiny point where I don't watch them, but the one you just spoke about this guy having multiple personality disorder. My question is, how many people in the Sawam actually understand that?
Yes, so it depends on how you portray it. Because when you portray it, somebody will be like, oh my God, I feel like I've got a different person trapped inside me that tells me to do things that I know I don't want to do. It kind of, that's why TV in South Asia particularly, because TV is our only form of exposure, where suddenly they'll be like, they may not understand it before they saw it, but when they see it, they're like, ye to mere, us neighbor wale ghar mein hota hai, or this is what I've heard my mother talk about, or this is what I feel. And so the tragedy here a little bit is what we're talking about with Mahira also, is that art can't become the social cause, and we have to find that balance. But what's incredible is the scope that we have, and the power that we have, and the talents that we have. The right people just need to come together, and that's why I said a quota of how many dramas out of 100 could be a social cause issue, because it does. For us, cinema changes lives, cultures, perspectives, history. It makes history, But in Pakistan, it's not our cinema so much as it is our television.
Yeah. And man, there's such great impact. We've seen it. We've seen it. So it's something we can do. But like Sanam said, it is important for us to come out and talk about it, especially people like us. We are the popular guys out here. And whatever we do say matters in a small way. It has impact. And so, yeah, it's important that we come out and we talk about it.
So there are quite a few questions. I'm going to try and touch on a few of them before, and I'm also mindful of time before we do announce kind of our exciting campaign. But there's a comment from a psychologist saying that, I'm a psychologist and intrigued by what you shared. what's the biggest blocks in your view in approaching a counselor? And I'll have another question kind of related to that, which is, please talk about support from family members and how the effect of mental health is also very big on the family because they're taking along the journey without knowing or understanding what to do. Could you talk about how family members can help? And then another question is, what do you do when you know that someone you love has a mental health issue, but they aren't open to getting help? And they think about therapy as something only abnormal people do. So these are kind of related. There's what are some of the blocks? And I think they're kind of related because one block against going to see a counselor could be that, you know, families not being encouraging enough, they're too shy to even speak up to their family. So if anybody has any advice for these people that are reaching out and asking and want, you know, a psychologist who's wanting to learn how maybe they can reach out to people more and encourage people more to get help. So Hajra, do you want to start?
Sure. So I feel like it is really important to find that one person who will sort of support you or go to that first therapy session with you or like the third or the fourth with you. And the whole point is, so me, I didn't tell my parents I was taking therapy until like a year passed because number one is that it's healing for me. It's not like them stressing out about what is wrong with me would just add to it, right? So I had this one friend who helped me, who sort of pushed me to go to therapy. And so you need one person, you just need one person. Could be an absolute, could be, I don't know, your tutor, could be your coach, could be a friend, could be a neighbor. Just that one person you could speak to. Don't share your problems, just be like, I feel like I need therapy and could you just help me get there somehow? Or like, you know, or like, you know, just somebody to fall back on. You don't have to, you know, emotionally rely on them or anything at all. You just need one person sort of who would be ready to sort of push you to take that step. And I'm sure there's one of that person in everybody's lives. At least one, there is. So I just feel like you need to find that one person.
Okay, well, thanks. Anybody else who has anything, you know, what are some of the things we might think about when we're seeking help from a counselor? Think twice before reaching out for help.
Well, I think you know, just like there is with everybody, you have to find your fit. By the way, with a therapist or a psychiatrist, I feel. I remember I've had a long journey of going to a therapist and then coming out and saying, what? Why did you? You know, like I've been to one who said, you know, you're going to explode any second. You're sitting on a time bomb, and then, you know, and then instantly giving me medication, and then I mean, eventually I have been on medication. I'm still on medication, but I did not want to hear that the first time I went, but that may just be me. So I think you have to find your fit, which is also difficult because मुझे लगता है बहुत सारे लोग जो इस वक्त देख रहे हैं और मैं पढ़ रही थी, you know, they're saying, I'm in depression, I want some suggestions. The first thing that is important is that you've acknowledged that there may be something wrong with you. So good, very good. I'm reading your comments out and I'm saying, good job, first job done. Second thing is, yes, it would be nice for you to seek help. And then so on and so forth. And so, yeah, I think, and like Hajra said, I also, the first time I went was with a friend of mine. The first time I went, I was forced to go. I was one of those that I don't need help, you know. So now when I suggest it to my friends, sometimes I do get that, no, I don't believe in all of this. And then eventually I think what I do with them, I don't know if it may help anybody or not, but I always try to find ways that will make them understand, or articles that might hit them the way things hit me. So for instance, if you are a fan of whoever you're a fan of, and I can find somewhere that she or he said something about mental health, I'll send them that, or a good documentary or a good article or whatever. It actually really helps. I did that with my mother. I sent her like NHS symptoms of depression, and she had to read it, you know. I was like, yeah, read it. Like, you know, so sometimes people understand differently. Sometimes people also don't want to believe it because they feel you're suffering and they love you and they don't want you to suffer. So there are lots of things.
Definitely. No,
Yeah.
thank you. And I think, as Hajra mentioned before, the more aware we become, the more we can help ourselves and others. So I just wanted to end today by sharing, you know, a lot of the messaging around COVID and this pandemic has been around social distancing, social isolation. And there's also been a lot of talk about how this language might not be the best. You know, we should be promoting physical distancing, but we should also be promoting social connectedness. We talked about children and the effects on their mental health. And, you know, whilst physically distancing, and especially living in today's day and age, we, you know, are able to, the positive is we're able to stay in touch with people all over the world. And, you know, so we should be promoting reaching out to people. There's also a lot of stigma against people who've been tested positive for COVID. And, you know, that's a lack of kindness. We should be reaching out to these people who've tested positive, doing things that are nice for them, using this time to connect with relatives, families, friends, reaching out to people who might be suffering a little more than us, as you guys mentioned. So, you know, the British Asian Trust and our ambassadors and supporters, we really want to spread some positivity in this, you know, when we're reading so much negative news these days. And we want to you to take part in the Be Kind campaign. Now, one area we tend to neglect is also kindness to ourselves. You know, in mental health, it is so important. It's crucial to take care of our own mental health. So, you know, if you guys could all share one act of kindness that you've done for yourselves or for someone else that has made you feel nice. It could be something small that just brought a smile to your face. And also encourage the viewers, your fans and followers, to please share something, any image, video, anything that they've also experienced during this time, and tag us, everybody, and the British Asian Trust to, again, spread kindness at a time when it's most needed. So, you know, quickly, let's just go, and if everybody could share one act of kindness to kind of start this campaign. Should we start with Hajra?
Why? Yeah, I don't know. Acts of kindness, I feel like I feel very, I don't know, it's nothing to do with any other person, any other human beings. It's just, I really like to go out and play with stray animals. And people don't realize the impact these animals on the roads. We have a lot of dogs and cats have on the socioeconomic system of the world. You know, so just because nobody's going out, well, the lockdowns eased out and everything, but there's this one dog who greets me every day at Mujahid at 6 a.m. when I'm cycling, and waits there, literally. And I'm just like, you know, I go get off and like we just play and everything, and then that's it. Now, and then that's also kindness to myself. So if I don't stop, I know how weird that's gonna make me feel. Like, because I want it. It's going to make me feel good. My ride is going to be. So there's like me and an animal that can't speak but looks forward to seeing me every day, basically. So this is my little piece of kindness situation that's going on.
That's really nice. Sanam?
Sana, what about you? That's another human being on the
What
about you?
I will share an act of kindness. So I have been trying to do something for myself. So taking out this time to be for me time. So also, you know, as mental health professionals, I think we worry more about caring and supporting others that we tend to neglect ourselves. So I've really tried to, you know, we always kind of don't always practice what we preach. So I've tried to take out time to do a bit of yoga, a bit of mindfulness, and really take out 1 hour every day to do something just for myself without anybody else. So that's my act of kindness, but it's, you know, for me. So Sanam, you?
Something that was bachpan se ingrained in us ke neighbors ke saath hamdardi rakhna and sharing what you've cooked or eaten. And I used to live in apartments when I was younger, so we were closer to our neighbors. But even now, our street, all the houses, I really, really appreciate and enjoy. My nani did this, my mother did it, now my dadi and her sister, and we do it. The exchanging of if you've cooked a little extra or cooked something interesting, or got some extra fruit, or know that that neighbor likes this or that neighbor is sick. So obviously being kind to one another, especially if you're 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people in the house, being kind, who wants to watch television or hot water, or kisi ko chai de di, ya kisi ko apna time de diya, ye wo. And then that trickles into the ripple effect, and then that trickles into your neighborhood. And and Ramzan is my favorite time because everyone gets, I just wish that would continue on for the rest of the 11 months. But even it's okay, even if it's at 1 month, people are just so nice to each other. And so that the exchange of food and items that somebody would like, and that extra care. And like you were talking about in the beginning, gardening, all the neighbors are really admiring each other's plants and trees and helping each other out. Somebody sent figs, somebody sent seeds to grow papita trees, somebody did this, and that's so nice that you don't have to, you're not just taking care of yourself and just your family, but there are other people. And then that hopefully trickles down to your house help. They also pick up on these good habits, and they'll do that with their neighbors, and they'll also see ke, kabhi kisi ka bartan khali nahi bhejte, hamesha usme kuch dal ke. These are not, they may be traditional, like, oh, falla dadi kyun hamesha, but these are really amazing acts of kindness. They show compassion, they show respect, they show togetherness, they show a sense of community. So for me, that's always an act of kindness that I've grown up seeing and I'm now practicing.
Thank you, and it's definitely something I think that's helpful during this time. We've been.
Oh, I did try it once when I ordered Salman's pani puris with the Kareem driver. I said, I'm ordering Salman pani puri. Apne liye bhi kuch, jo bhi chaat vagera, it's from me. And he was just like, really? Of course, then he did come back and say, Baji aur madad kar liya. I'm like, okay, every time you give an inch, you need to take a mile, but that's fine. Everyone has to.
That's a good one. Mahira?
These are some really, really nice stories, man. I was gonna give something very like basic, like Aslan presses me every night.
Yeah, so that is, I regret not having properly with focus pressing my mother's feet. That's one thing, because I like my feet getting pressed now, and my mother would always want us to just press her feet, and we'd be like, oh.
I think what we do for our parents and what kids do for us, we don't consider that kindness. I don't, at least. Do you know what I mean? I don't
consider. We take it for granted. But
yeah, so for instance, when I like give Amma a bath, let's say, or Aslan is pressing me lightly, I don't consider that kindness. I'm just like, yeah, I'm doing what I should do, and he's doing. But actually, these are wonderful things that we do for each other, and this is where it begins. Like Sanam said, कि हमें बहुत वैसे लगता है ना कि हमारी नानी दादियां जो कहती थी, हमारी माएं जो कहती थी, लेकिन वो बिल्कुल सही कहती थी, क्योंकि कुछ चीजें, some things world over, history will tell you that there is some things which are similar in all communities and all cultures, and that if you do it and you repeat it and you teach it to your children, eventually something changes, something is better because of you. So yeah, I have started to, by the way, so one thing I have been trying to do is I've been trying to, I don't exercise, I have never exercised, but so I was told that exercise would really help me. So I take out 10-minute YouTube, 10-minute.
Why aren't you cycling with Hassan? I'm cycling with your brother and my brother. Why aren't you there?
Yeah, okay. Now that everybody's watching, let me tell you, your brother broke my bicycle. I told his son, I was like, ready to fix my bicycle. But I wouldn't come your time. You're right. I would have never gotten out of the house. I would have gone yahan, aage piche. But yeah,
it's nice. Cycling and walking and...
So these are all acts of kindness, and definitely, some things, like I said, aren't in our control, but I think exercising, eating healthy, taking a break from social media and negative news, spending more time with our families, social connectedness, even if it's via Zoom and WhatsApp, whatever. These are little things that we can do to make ourselves feel better. So Hajra, Sanam and Mahira, this might mean that you end your social media break, but we will be sharing our small acts of kindness if we do, and encourage others to kind of be kind and share their acts of kindness, so that, as you said, Mahira, this was something, you know, nice to hear. And I think during this time, it's always nice to hear what other people are doing for others or for themselves to inspire us, and, you know, make us put a smile on our face during these very challenging times. Once again, we're going to end here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for joining.
Sana, sorry, there are lots of people who have been messaging, and I feel like we haven't addressed that. I know that we'll direct them to the links, but just maybe coming from us is, you know, people are saying depression, anxiety, family problems, parents and all. Whatever faith you belong to, whatever you want to believe, prayer helps a lot, because it's being grateful. Even if you just have to remind yourself, I'm grateful to have 2 legs, 2 hands, to breathe, to be able to drink water. I mean, when I saw my mother not being able to swallow, I was like, that's such a, you don't know, there's so many things to be grateful for. That helps. Go to YouTube. YouTube has everything. Instead of just watching entertaining things, YouTube has a lot of informative stuff. And breathing. People think breathing in yoga and meditation is mumbo jumbo, but it's not. There's a reason why so many people talk about it. There's a reason why prayer has been given so much importance. It's not because you're going to go to hell if you don't. It's because it's so important for you to be grounded, for you to give yourself those 5 minutes to be thankful, to ask for what you want, and to quieten your mind. And that's what mental issues are. It's too much traffic happening in the mind, and you're not able to find that peace. So breathing, the 10 counts in, 10 counts out, the box breathing, Google these terms, YouTube guided meditation. They help, even if it's for 5 minutes, having someone talk you through your breathing and making you, talking you through envisioning something, it takes you away from that stress and traffic in your mind. So if you are facing depression, anxiety, and these issues, do seek help from Sehat Kahani and these links. Find your therapist. As Mahira said, you have to shop for your therapist. There are some that you just won't connect with, you won't click with, you have to do that. Breathe, learn about breathing. Prayer, prayer, meditation, call it whatever you want, but take that time out to be.
But Sanam, sorry, I have to say something. You see, it is so important to understand before all the breathing and meditation. If you're going through something right now, let's say someone is suffering through some medical, some condition, some mental illness. It's so difficult to do anything. You can't do anything. So actually, it all comes after that. Now I can try to meditate. Now I can try to find those links.
And like you said, the people who are asking for help, they're the ones who've already acknowledged that, okay, I'm now ready to seek ways and help. And so it's definitely for people who are willing to help themselves and are understanding that there's a problem. And for those who are still stuck in it and are struggling.
It's basically like, so it's basically like this. If you, sorry, I'm taking up time, but it's like if you tell someone who has a clinical mental condition or mental illness, and you tell them, come on, chop, you know, you can't do that. Be grateful or learn to, it's like telling someone who does not have legs and constantly telling them, come on, get up and walk. Come on, get up and walk. Legs do not exist. So just like that, I mean, I know I'm saying something so like, I don't know.
But you're saying what people are feeling. These are exactly their thoughts.
So I think that's something that our families need to understand, I think, man. They, you know, like I've experienced that with Amma. She'd tell you, you have this and you were this, and but it's not about that, because sometimes it's just about, you know, something not.
Some teeny tiny thing I would just like to add in the end, that we are going through a global pandemic. It's not a small epidemic. It's a global pandemic. So, and I'm not looking to turn into like a gardener after this. I'm not looking to learn a new skill after this. I don't want to learn how to break bread or whatever. You know, all of these things that, you know, you see posts every day that, you know, after the pandemic is over, we'll see who the real beasts or the hustlers and everything. And I'm just like, it's a pandemic. It's okay if you can't get out of bed every day, right? You don't have to learn a new skill. You don't have to. Kisne banaya rule? You don't have to, right? So be kind to yourself, kind enough to just feel that you're going through a global pandemic and that this happened generations back, which is why you have depression or whatever you have. And just so we can stop this this trickling effect down to our generations, we can take it a little easy on ourselves today. I feel like that's fundamentally important, and that's something just be kind, take it easy. Honestly, like, it's a pandemic. Come on.
We do tend to put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and as we said, acceptance and learning about what condition. You rightfully pointed out that there are many different. Some people have mental health challenges and issues that cause anxiety, depression. That's normal. It's situational. And then some people have more severe issues where there's professional help available. So once again, please download the Sehat Kahani app. Once again, I will read out the number for the IRD helpline: 0213 713 332. The resources are available. Please do reach out to the British Asian Trust if you want to learn more information about our program and some of the interventions and mental health support that we are offering. Thank you very much. Thank you, Hajra, Sanam, and Mahira. Again, I thought this was a really important conversation, and I do hope you guys continue to use your platform to speak up about issues such as this.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.